back
ahead.
to something you mentioned much earlier, talking about tape trading.
Yeah.
I was in a club here in Newcastle in Wallsend, and this guy comes over and he says, "I've got a guy in America, in San Francisco, wants one of your tapes, wants a Venom tape." I went, "Oh, okay." He said he wants to trade with you. I said, "All right," and he gave me a copy of this little cassette called "Metal Up Your Ass."
Yeah.
And he said the guy's called Lars Ulrich, and he loves Venom. He loves all English bands, and he's a tape trader, and he wants to give you this, and he wants a copy of whatever it was we were doing at the time. So that was my first kind of meeting with Lars, and his kind of ethos, and it sort of struck us correct, it struck us, with me, as being exactly the way we were, the way we were kind of doing things. Like you say, no internet, no telephones that you can carry around, and I would have had to travel to meet you, or you'd have to travel to meet me to just have this conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's the whole thing is I'm attractive to the whole thing. I sometimes even get emotional about those early years of like a band like Venom or a band like Metallica, and then bands before that. I've been reading. I'm pretty much, I could say, done with Rob Halford's 2 books, and where he talks about just how, because I always wondered how that worked. It's like, at first you don't have a van, like you pretty much like you're saying, you're borrowing your parents' vehicle to take your shitty gear to a fucking teen center to play 30-minute set, and it's an hour from your house, and you're dedicated. You're not going to make any, if anything, you're going to lose. If anything, something's going to break and you won't get to play at all, but you still fucking do it. You still get on the phone at dawn and you do it because you love it and you're attracted to the idea of this creating some type of synergy and transcendent moment for people who will listen, who are hungry like you, to be, see what I mean? I get emotional and I start talking like this, and I it's hard to get me to shut the fuck up. But it's
like having a hive mind. Like last night when I turned up and there's all these people rammed in a gig.
Yeah.
And it's like a hive mind. They're all thinking what you're thinking.
Yes.
And they're all, when I'm speaking to them afterwards and, signing records and whatever, and like I say, there's all these new kids turning up and all this kind of thing, all of the same mind, all of the same, the same conversation. And there's not one person kicking off. Everybody's pissed. Everybody's drunk. But nobody's kicking off. Nobody's creating any shit. All the girls that were there were just out having fun, and none of them felt any pressure from any arseholes in the place.
Yeah, I get it.
And that's everywhere. That's if you go to a rock gig or a rock festival, that's what you get. That's what we've always had.
Yeah.
You guys famously got in trouble with the PMRC, which is a round of applause, please. So my question is, was there, obviously you stirred up a lot of controversy. Were there times that you sort of played up the controversy, or were you secretly in the back room laughing amongst yourselves going, I can't believe these people are buying this?
Very, very much laughing in the back room. Very much. That was all our, we didn't, I know they weren't anything to be reckoned with in England, PMRC. So it was just handbags, it was just people sitting around a table having something to shout about, and it didn't mean anything. Nobody ever created anything, or nobody tried to stop us playing. Nobody, if we were making money, nobody tried to stop that. Nobody tried to put anything in the way, so we just basically ignored it.
What's the silliest accusation you've ever heard?
Oh, shit. I suppose the fact that somebody thought that we were somehow influencing and changing the children's minds, and that we were doing that deliberately. as a kind of I suppose like a hypnosis. So we were putting these backward masking sounds and images and this kind of thing to infiltrate, the teenage mind, to make them rebel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
it's like if you're a teenager, you're going to fucking rebel, and that's the end of that.
Right.
Was it In League with Satan that had the backward, like Cronus saying something, and it had backward? You guys flip the tape. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was quite a few bits like that.
Yeah.
But then again, I was doing an interview on BBC One over here on a quite a highbrow show with a guy called Jeremy Paxman, who interviews prime ministers and presidents,
Yeah.
And there was this guy on. There was the two of us, and this guy was a church leader who had been given a grant, a quite sizable grant of money, to buy equipment whereby he could play our backward masking forwards. So he would play this stuff forwards, and he would have Cronus saying, blah, 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 this, that, and the other, and whatever. And Jeremy Paxman would say, yeah, now, do you agree that that's what that says? And I said, yeah, I agree with you. And the two of them were like being smarmy about it. I said, but that is from a record. And on the back of it, it says, we drink the vomit of the priests and make love to the dying whore. I said, and that's written in Anglo-Saxon English. It's written on the back. It's from a song called In League with Satan, from an album called Welcome to Hell.
Right.
And it's got a pentagram. It's got a pentagram on it. We don't need to hide anything. We're doing that for musical effect. It's like adding a violin or a cello, and then down tuning it or something to make it sound more eerie.
Me and my friends used to try to emulate that. We do that. If I had $1 for every time I said, I would yell down the hallway at school, "Summon the dead," or whatever, or I would be rich, because it was the extreme attitude, and how actually kind of silly sometimes, that I would realize that, that's not singing, it's attitude.
No. It's across it's kind of music, it's kind of poetry,
yes,
it's kind of storytelling.
Yeah.
I met a guy, this is one of the proudest moments of my life. I met a guy, a South American guy, who told me that he wasn't doing very good at school when he was younger, and particularly in English, he wasn't learning English properly. And then he heard Venom and he heard Countess Bathory, and he looked at the lyrics and he looked at the history of Elizabeth Bathory, and he suddenly started wanting to learn English. And the guy went on to become a school teacher.
Perfect.
And it's like, that's fucking brilliant. That's worth every aching leg I've ever had from playing fucking drums. It's worth every steps I've had to carry drums up and down in, just to hear one person tell you that.
Yeah.
That's life changing.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is.